Do you want to have a really successful compost pile but are not sure what shouldn't go in your pile? This is one of the most confusing parts about composting. Everyone seems to have a different opinion about what to compost. So if in doubt, I look at what Mother Nature does. So Mother Nature will compost almost everything. So some people, they're going to exclude things because they might have chemicals or pathogens in them. Others will exclude things because they don't break down fast. So I'm going to unwind some of this for you so you can decide what goes in your pile. So what it boils down to is two questions. Would you eat the things you are putting in your pile, and are the things you're putting in your pile going to harm the good compost microbes or your family? So here's my list of the things that I will not put in my compost pile and why. All right, number one is bones. I will not put any bones in my compost pile because they take too long to break down. Now I will put some meat, grease, or dairy products in my compost pile if I have a big enough pile and a long time to compost. They do take a little bit longer to break down, and you're going to need to turn the pile a few extra times to get it to finish. All right, number two is sticks and pine needles. So I don't include these because they take too long to break down. You can do them in their own separate compost pile if you want, but in my main pile I don't do that. All right, number three is feces. I don't put in human, dog, or cat feces into the compost pile because of possible harmful pathogens. All right, number four is chemicals. I will not put colored newspaper, wax, waxed cardboard in the compost pile because they may contain harmful chemicals and most likely will not break down. All right, number five is toxic plants. I will not put in black walnut, oleander, magnolia, hemlock, eucalyptus, or juniper leaves into the compost pile. They can be toxic to the microbes and to us. All right, number six is herbicides. So when building a compost pile, it's really a bit more complicated than it used to be. So there are new herbicides on the market that the farmers can use in their fields to kill broadleaf plants. And these new herbicides, they can be eaten by the cows, passed through their manure, and then offered for sale as organic manure for gardens. But the problem is that the new herbicides have not broken down and will kill the broadleaf plants in your garden, such as tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, and anything that's not grass. So one of the main culprits is Grazon. It's sold by Dow AgroScience. The active ingredient is aminopyralid. We'll put the word on the screen. Like I say, if you can't pronunciate it, you shouldn't eat it. So what it does is it inhibits the plant cells' stacking ability, causing the plant to be deformed, and then it dies. So the bottom line here is don't buy any manures or compost from farms unless you know that they have not sprayed or bought hay from a farm that did spray. So to find organic farmers in your area, you can go to localharvest.org, and if they don't have a clean source of manure, they will know where to find the clean sources of manure in your area. So you can go to their website and then just contact the farmers directly. All right, number seven is biosolids. The other product that we need to stay away from is biosolids. This is the sludge left at the bottom of the municipal sewer tanks. So municipalities can bag this stuff as organic fertilizer for the garden. So it contains chemicals, human waste, pathogens, drugs, different medications, heavy metals, and anything that gets flushed from households and industrial plants. And what they are finding is forever chemicals in the fruits and vegetables and meats produced on farms that apply biosolids from the sewer plants. So there's four top chemicals. These are the PFASs, the PFOSs, the PFOAs, and the PCBs. And there could be as many as 5,000 different combinations of these chemicals that are manufactured today. And what happens is they persist in the environment and they're in our bloodstreams because these compounds do not break down in light or air or by a biological process. So since they're highly mobile, their contamination, it can spread through the soil and into groundwater, and this can accumulate in fish, shellfish, wildlife, and farm crops. Bottom line here, I don't want to consume any of these 5,000 chemicals or heavy metals or any human waste. So my family deserves to be protected from these hazards, and these things are not going to my compost pile or my garden. So if you're going to buy bags of natural compost material, look really close at the label to determine if they are biosolid materials. So go ahead and do an internet search on the products before you purchase them. And if they are biosolids, you don't want to use them in your compost pile or your yard. All right, number 8 is grass clippings. So I use my lawn for mulching my plants and for making compost. And we enjoy the yard, and it's fully functional too. So I do not use any chemicals on the lawn. I enjoy the dandelions and the violets and the other fun things that grow in the lawn. And when I need to feed the lawn, I just use some of my compost. So if your yard is organic and chemical free, grass clippings are a great ingredient for the compost pile. All right, number 9 is leaves. So one year we were offered the leaves from the county, the ones that they suck up in the gutter in our small town that we live in. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I got all this free organic material for my compost. So the leaves were delivered and I stockpiled them in the back of the farm. And then once I went back to see what treasure I'd gotten, I was really mortified. It was full of trash, rocks, dirt. It even had a dead cat in it. And at this point I realized it was not safe material for my organic compost pile. Then I started questioning what chemicals had been sprayed on the trees and the yards that they grew in, and what was in the dirt on the street that was collected on, and what had the dead cat eaten, and did it have drugs in its system. You know, it was at this point I started to be very careful and deliberate about what I was going to put in my compost piles. I also question what is in the free compost that the city gives away. So I feel that the city compost recycle program is not safe enough for producing food. So it might be okay for ornamental flowers. I'm just not going to take the risk with my health or my family's health. So only organic leaves go in my compost pile. So please take the time to make sure everything going into your compost pile is organic. If you are not willing to eat it, don't put it in your pile. So there are plenty of things around your yard and things that you can collect or grow on purpose to put in your compost pile. So if you'd like to learn more about composting, you can jump into our compost success list on our YouTube channel. I will go ahead and put the link in the description below.